Hey, welcome back to the Isaac Jarnagin podcast. Today I had on Jyles Johnson. Jyles is just the most persistent self-starter I know. He's tried everything, but currently he is finding success in Amazon FBA, as well as managing his group called Jyles FBA, which is a paid group where you join and get leads on products that are working, as well as customer support tips and just everything to get started with FBA. He does a great job with it. I met him back when he used to stream Fortnite, so it's always fun to check in with him and how much he's changed since those 2 or 3 years ago. It's crazy. Let's get into it. We haven't talked since really in depth since back when we were streaming or whatever. What have you been up to?
I know. A lot, dude. A lot has changed since, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever that was.
Right.
I have Jyles FBA now, which is my main focus, where I'm putting a lot of my time. And I do a lot of sports cards as well, buying, selling, trading, grading sports cards.
Right.
I do that a lot as well. And I still go to school. I do online school, which it's just doing it for my parents, I guess. But it's whatever. But yeah, those are the main things I'm doing. I still have a girlfriend, so that's all good.
Love it. You guys have been good to each other. That's been fun to see.
Yeah, dude.
So obviously I know a bit because I look into every way you can make money, and obviously when you get into the realm of drop shipping and FBA, that's a whole realm of things that you can get in. Explain FBA to someone that's never touched that realm before.
Yeah, so I do a thing called Amazon FBA, online arbitrage. Basically what we are doing is we're buying retail products from, like, let's say Walmart, Target, Walgreens, and we're driving MSRP down by using coupons, discounts, shopping clearance, credit card points, credit card cash back, Rakuten cash back, Top cash back, all those things to drive MSRP down. And you take them, you buy them from those retail sites, and you flip them onto Amazon for a profit. So that's the simplest way to put it. Gotcha.
Yeah. So super cool model, and all remote. You don't have to touch anything.
Correct.
You're not.
Yeah. So the way I have it set up, which a lot of other sellers starting out might not have it set up, is I have a prep center, located in tax-free state.
Yeah.
Which that sells tax-free. So basically whenever I send my units to this prep center, they'll prep my units, meaning they'll polybag, FN and just basically prep them and then send them to Amazon. So I don't even see them, and then I pay them a flat rate per unit.
Yeah.
So I get out on that 7% or whatever your state may be on sales tax, and I pay them the flat rate. So
incredible. But you can have it set up to where you're having stuff shipped to your house. But
correct. So if you're working with like smaller margins, so say I'm buying something for $3, selling it for $13, and I'm making $4, then it might lower my margins if I'm paying a prep center, let's say $1.50 a unit. So it might just be easier to ship them to my house, prep them myself, and send them out.
So how the heck did you get from the first time I ran into you were streaming video games on Twitch TV? How did you find, that realm, and then get rid of that and then look into, starting FBA?
That's a great question. As you always know, I'm always looking for ways to make money. I had Rocky clothing all throughout my streaming career, where I would just basically hit up content creators and make merch for them and then split profits. Basically, it was just print on demand. But essentially from that, I started working for a guy named Zach, which I've known all my life. He owns a company called Card Brokers. Essentially what it is, it's a cook group where basically there's a ton of reselling information on there, mainly prioritizing cards. Let's say you can buy this retail box from Target for $30 and flip it on eBay for $60 and make $25 or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's basically what that group was. So I started working for him, and then I started managing the Discord server, and this is over, I don't know, I'd say 10 months, maybe 10, 12 months. And then I'm like, well, I want to start providing information to other cook groups. So I'm like, what can I provide? So I kind of went out on a limb and I'm like, I can provide Amazon information and provide leads, meaning, okay, I'm going to provide, okay, you can buy this product here at Walmart for $20, flip it on Amazon for $50 and make $18 or whatever it may be. So I started cold DMing every cook group ever. I probably sent, I kid you not, 2,000 DMs over the span of like 2 months. I'd wake up and just DM. And then I'd say every, I don't know, every like 1 to every 10, I'd get a reply back and be like, okay, I got to close this.
Right.
So I'd close the deal. I'd get locked in with their group. I'd start providing information to their group. I didn't really know what I was doing back then, so I hired someone that did.
Yeah.
So the first month I was in the hole. I was paying them $500 a month, and I only had one group paying me like $100 a month. So I'm like, okay, I'm out $400 off rip, but I think I can turn this into something. Like if one group says yes, I feel like I can get other people to say yes. Right. So I just kept getting those yeses. I worked my way up to like, I don't know, 15, 20 groups. And then people started hitting me up and like, hey, why don't you have your own group focused on Amazon and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just create my own group. I just kind of went off on a limb and created my own group. And then that's Jyles FBA. And I did that a year ago. Our 1 year was on June 1st, so a few days ago.
5 days ago. This is June 6th right now. Crazy. So I got it out of order. I thought it was streaming straight Jyles FBA and then like, I'm going to get into sports cards. That's not how that worked.
No, it was streaming sports cards and then Jyles FBA.
Gotcha. And
I still do sports cards, yeah.
Right. As a hobby or like one of your main drivers?
A little bit of both. I mean, I like cards. Beside me, I have it's on a safe, but I have Tiger Woods cards. I PC Tiger Woods. Yeah. So I have like 4 or 5, like Tiger Woods autos that on the card. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. It's kind of like a investment / just like for fun thing. I can kind of just store my money in those cards and hopefully. 10, 20, 30 years, they're worth what I bought them for. If not, I still think the cards are cool and I like Tiger.
Yeah. Do you have a card on hand that you can like touch and like explain like what goes into it and what makes it worth valuable or something?
Yeah. Let's see.
Opening the safe.
So let's see. Here are 2 Tiger Woods cards. So this is
gracious.
An auto out of 20. This is from, I don't even know what year. It's 2015. And here's another Tiger Woods auto.
Incredible.
That is on his glove. So it's a beam or a match worn glove, I guess. And then his auto's on that. That's just 2 of them. So, I mean, what makes those valuable is just simply it's a Tiger Woods auto. Right. Almost every Tiger Woods auto fetches around like $1,000.
Right.
So one of those cards are comped at like $1,200. The other one's at like $2,200. Yeah. So those 2 cards alone's like, I don't know, a little over $3,000.
Crazy.
But what I do with the flipping side of the cards is essentially I buy raw cards, meaning they're just not encased in like PSA or BGS.
Yeah.
And then basically I'll look over the condition, and I think if I think it can PSA 10, meaning I'll send it to PSA, get it graded. If they slap a PSA 10, that automatically makes the value 2 to 3 times more.
Yeah. And that's the PSA is where you get that red and white and black card put in with your. Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll show you.
And that goes for anything. Like, I'm sure people have seen Pokemon cards, sports cards. That's all through PSA.
There are a bunch of different. I guess, graders, but the big ones are PSA and BGS. Gotcha. So here are like some of the cards I have just on.
Gotcha. Yeah. With the people have to recognize the red and white box thing. I mean, I'm sure that. Yeah. Crazy.
And then I'll show you BGS, which I'm sure you can recognize.
Gotcha.
Maybe as well.
Sounds good.
But yeah, basically I just buy raw cards online, and then send them in if I think they can PSA 10, and if they do PSA 10, they will go up anywhere 2 to 3x.
Yeah.
So There's a Tua Gold,
Gotcha. Dang. That's fun.
Justin Fields tie that
Gotcha.
is a cool card.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's essentially what I do with cards. It's fun because as soon as you send in that card, you can't wait for it to get back because you're like, okay, if this, like, I'll give you a few examples. Like, I can send in a $2,000 card that I bought raw. I did this just, I can send a $2,000 card raw, and then if it PSA 10s, I mean, I can flip it for $6,000.
Right.
And I make $4,000 profit. It's really crazy. And if it nines, I mean, usually worst case is you lose a few bucks. Best case is you might make a little bit. You might break even.
Right.
But it's kind of like a gamble. But if you have a good eye and you've been doing it for a while, then you can kind of tell, like, okay, edges look sharp, corners are sharp, surface is clean, all that stuff. So
Yeah. It's just funny that I even have a few extra bucks that I want to be putting away investing, and immediately people are like Roth, or invest your money into a taxable account. It's like, like there's some great physical things besides gold. It's like sports cards, bro. Make a quick grand, but obviously there's a lot of knowledge behind it.
Yeah. What's up?
No, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Stepping back, have you ever had like a job, or have you always been able to just do whatever?
I've never had a job.
Yeah.
So I've been used to stream. I think I started that, I don't know, I started it in middle school, but I didn't really take it seriously. I think I kind of started taking it seriously end of 9th grade, probably 9th grade. So freshman year of high school. Right. And I wasn't making anything crazy. I'd say best month ever, I made like $3,000.
Yeah.
And then on like the bad months, I'd make a few $100 maybe. Right. Which is still really good for like a high school kid.
No, yeah, no kidding.
I mean,
people are working for $10 an hour, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I was playing 3 sports as well, so it was like hard to actually have like a normal. After school I go clock in from 4:30 to 9 or whatever it may be. Yeah. Because I always have practices and games and traveling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Break down, like, for example, what a $3,000 month looked like for you. Like, how much of that was Twitch subs? How much of that was, like, affiliates? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, most of it was, like, gifted subs and then bits. And people would donate bits. Yeah. And then also, what was it? There was, like, it was called, like, Stream Elements, where they would offer streamers, like, almost sponsored like brand deals. Right. So essentially what you would do is you partner with a game, and it'd be like, okay, you need to achieve 30 downloads and 30 seconds of gameplay per person that downloads, and you'll get $500. Gotcha. So I'm sure and within the best month I probably had one of those in there as well. Yeah. But most of it was just gifted subs and bits.
I was driving into your profits. I would edit a video weekly for you for $20 an edit. That's where mine. You were the first guy that I edited anything for ever. So it was that's when I first got to know you, which is awesome. But back to FBA. You don't just make money from turning Amazon products. Now I would consider your significant main thing is running that group. That is no small feat. What does a customer get, like, coming to your group, and how do you make it valuable, and how has running that been?
Yeah, for sure. So we provide tons of value. It's just not Amazon FBA information. We provide, like I said, flips. Yeah. I have tons of flips daily. So if you sell on Amazon, basically we're like a leads list, as they're called. Yeah. Where we provide leads to those that pay. Yeah. We provide like monitors. So for example, say something's out of stock on Walmart, we can add it to our monitor, and as soon as it comes back into stock, it will ping on that channel and be like, okay, X is back into stock, and then we'll notify our members and we'll buy it. Gotcha. We provide general reselling information. So say There's a hot shoe that's out that you can buy for 200, or say it's like a raffle, or there's tons of different raffles. We'll post all the links to the raffles. Okay, buy it for 200, flip it for 500.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we have support, one-on-one support. People
Right.
can open tickets, ask any and all questions related to Amazon, resell,
Right.
all that stuff. We have tons of detailed guides,
Right.
video guides as well. We have like a Git book. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a Git book, but are you familiar with it, Isaac?
No.
It's pretty sick. So essentially, you can just I don't know. I'll send it to you after this, and you can check it out. But you can basically add tons of written guides, video guides. It's awesome. Basically, it's just a link to all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, that's just some of the value. I'm sure I'm missing stuff like webinars, for example. We have a webinars channel where I hired someone to post all the webinars, and it's like, okay, sit through this 30-minute call and get a $15 DoorDash gift card, or whatever it may be. We have sports bets, so I hired a guy to post sports bets in there. There's just tons of value inside the server.
And I want people to notice, first of all, this is all remote. And second of all, this is not all you. You're connecting the dots. That is
Correct.
you. Like,
Correct.
all of these random ideas, it's just like, oh, this can be done. Let's get a guy. Let's get it going.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's not like you got a whole team behind you right now, which is sick.
Correct.
And it's all remote. You guys all talking to call. I recently got to see more of that, and it's insane. People get stuck on the idea that you need to do some physical in-person job to start a business. You need to have like a job to get a revenue stream going. It's like, no, like we have our computers, bro. We got our phones.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's been fun to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best like contracted workers I've never met a day in my life. I don't even know what they look like. Even I mean, I know their voice, but outside of that, I mean, it's I mean, you can just build connections. You said that on one of your podcasts. I mean, you have a friend in every single state that you could probably stay at. It's just the internet's wild, and I don't think a lot of people really understand that. They're too like inside their bubbles, I guess.
Yeah. And it's weird to me. I'd say I'm not inside my bubble enough, but on the contrary, it's like I'm on the internet though with a lot of advantages there.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna stay at this forever? Are you content with this? Obviously, you're always wanting to grow, whatever. But you like this where you're going?
I mean, I've been at it for a year, and like I enjoy every day of it. But I think that's just like the business side of me. Like whenever I was doing like Rocky Clothing and I was making legit like $2 a sale, and I probably had like within like a year and a half, I probably had like 200 total sales. Like I think I made like $3 or $4 grand in like a year and a half, and I thought it was like absolutely killer. But it was, I don't know, I just like the whole business side. I'm sure the capital that I build from Jyles FBA, I'll take and build another business, and it'll just be like a trickle effect. I don't know if that's like real estate. I don't know if it's another business that involves Amazon. Just I'm sure there will be something else down the road that I can toss capital at and dive into once again.
Right. Looking into a whole nother realm of just generating income for yourself that even I'm not too familiar with. Like even more than like what I do for my, business is going on shoots and stuff, which is kind of a physical thing. A lot of it is edited online or whatever, but a totally different thing. That was a lot of info, man.
No, there's a lot of info. Yeah. And that's just the surface of it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said about tons of different like connecting parts, moving parts. I'm on calls, not most of the day, but I set up a bunch of calls, and even with like the groups, we're still providing for like 25, 30 groups, which is kind of crazy. Gotcha. So I'm on calls with like the owners of those groups and making sure they're satisfied with the service. And then there's almost 1,000 free members in that server, and then 150-ish paid members. Right. So it's just a lot of people to try to keep happy, and I I mean, the main thing is making sure we're providing good value and they're getting their bang for their buck, I guess.
Yeah. So I could see some people coming into this perspective of this being like, there's no way this work is purposeful or whatever. What would you say to that? You know what I mean? Like, everything's
purposeful.
Yeah, just like, you know what I mean?
I feel like that's just like a small-minded individual almost. Like, if you don't think you can make money online, you're simply wrong. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people are making tons of money online, and they're not even in their rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hard for me to imagine someone thinking that it's like impossible to make money on a computer when you have, like I said, all these different connections at the touch of your fingertips.
Right.
So I'd probably just say, I don't know, give it a try. Even if it's just starting out. Like, for example, when Zach, in high school, it was like, I think it was sophomore year. I don't know if you ever went for like a sneakers raffle before, but there's these, I think they're called Sakai's, which are shoes that dropped on sneakers at 10 o'clock. And that was in between third period, which was like a 30-minute free period. So I entered on those, and then at 10:10, they'll announce the winners, and it's like, okay, you can buy the shoe for like, it was maybe $120, $160, whatever that may be. And I hit 2 out of the 3 shoes I was going for, and I sold them the next day on StockX for like $600 a pair.
Yeah.
I made, I don't know, $700. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, internet money's unreal. Like, how did that happen?
No kidding. Yeah. I mean, people will they won't spend money for a week, and that's what they make a week. I mean, and
I know, yeah.
I bet you went in just with like you had some shoe knowledge, but minimal. You know what I mean?
Correct.
With the shoe model, for someone that's never touched it before, it's obviously it's through Nike, right? That does those limited drops.
Sneakers.
Yeah. So you get their app, and then you like sign up for the drop, but only so many people get it at retail price. And with some of the shoes, they're very highly anticipated, and that's when they'll get released. People get them for retail price, and then there's so much demand, you just sell them right away. So easy way to make money.
Correct.
I don't know. Maybe I have something to put in this. I want to hear your take on this. First of all, we're going to go into this. There is no such thing as... Actually, it's very hard to get rich quick. I won't limit people, but it's like you got to have some work ethic behind it as we say this. But like, what's your step one towards internet money or efficient money, or you know what I mean?
I'd say the main thing is almost betting on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are scared to drop. Maybe it's $75 on Jyles FBA because they don't think it'll come back to them. It's like, oh, I'm just throwing away $75. Right. Just basically investing in, I don't know really how to put this. You just have to like reinvest. Like, you can't just start something and like hope for the best. You kind of just have to bet on yourself and keep like double downing on yourself. Yeah. Like, for example, say whenever I started Jyles FBA providing, and I got those first 10 no's, I'm just like, okay, no one wants me to provide for them, and I just quit. Yeah. Like, it's basically just, I would say, I just find it hard to fail if you just keep like going at it and you like just double down on yourself time and time again.
Yeah, for sure. And specifically with your model and your group, it's subscription based, and so a lot of subscriptions that people are indulging in, like mainstream subscriptions, do not have any sort of chance that you're going to return your money. Like Netflix, you're not getting anything from that. So that's immediately what people think when putting money to something. It's like, there's no way I get it back. But that's not true. When I first did my shirts in high school, I'm just like, I sold T-shirts in high school.
Yeah. I recall. Yeah. I wore it the other day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, makes the muscles look good, man. Yeah. Anyways, I had to sit down and be like, oh my gosh, I have $1,000 in my bank from a job I had, and I'm like, I need to put $300 down to order shirts. I mean, like, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But you think about it and the math comes out. I mean, you gotta do that for yourself. So 100% believe in yourself and diving off the deep end. And then I believe, like, if you put yourself in a hole, your natural instincts, so you're going to dig yourself out of it if you do it right.
I agree.
A little bit with what I did recently is I've had no job recently. I've just been like, I'm putting myself in a hole. I have skills. I want to dig myself out of it. And that goes for any industry. Me and you do two pretty different things, but it's the same idea. It's trusting in yourself. You controlling your ceiling. When you go into a job and you make $30,000 a year, you can't surpass that unless you do something crazy, and then maybe you'll surpass it a little bit. With this, it's like if you come out with a new idea, or you make a new shirt, or you make a new product, or you add something new to your server, bam, your ceiling increases. It's all controlled by you and your ethic.
I love that. Yeah, that's the main thing that has kept me away from, let's say, a stable 9 to 5. Yeah. Is the simple thought of, okay, I started out at $40,000 a year, and I'm just going to go in every day, and I'm making this $40,000, or I'm making the same as the next guy, but I may work way harder than the next guy. Right. And like you said, the harder you work, usually the more output and the better the reward is. Yeah. So that's what I love about business. I mean, if you put in 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, then you're gonna get a good return.
Yes. No kidding. Here's another thing that honestly I need to ask from you is, I have very minimally needed to bring on help for my stuff that I've been doing. A lot of it I can self-sustain on my own. What would you kind of say, what was your point where you really started bringing people on to help you out? You pay people on contract. You have staff members for your Discord server.
Correct.
When was your first one? How did that start? What was going through your head? Whatever.
So so my first one, I just knew him through Discord, and I knew he did Amazon. So that was the guy I started off with, $500 a month. I'm like, you provide all the leads, I'm gonna get us all the servers. So that was the first one. It was kind of just like off on a limb. It's like, okay, if I'm doing this 3 months from now, and I only still have one group, and I'm $1,400 or $1,200 in the hole or whatever, I'm like, okay, maybe I should step back and think of something else. But outside of him, I'd say, I don't know, it's kind of just goes with like whenever you're doing stuff that you don't think is really scalable. Yeah. Like for example, like prep work. Let's just go to the Amazon FBA business. I don't want to be sending packages to my house and me prepping all day when I can outsource it and pay someone $1.50 a unit to do that work for me as I'm sitting on the computer clicking buttons, buying more product to send to them. Right. Yes. I mean, it's just basically when you're getting overworked for stuff that you that isn't really helping the business. If that it's helping the business, but it's not like you can outsource it. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. And what I've experienced, I'm a micromanager. I really am. What I've experienced is it takes an outside perspective of you. You need to step outside of yourself and look into your situation to really notice when that's a thing too. You can very easily do all the work and think that that's working hard and then that's going to get you success. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's being smart, you know. That's not hard work. That's smart work. Putting in the hard work in another area that's scalable. My first way I'm running into this is maybe even this podcast is I should be out there looking for people to talk to and talking to people rather than sitting there and going through 40 minutes of footage. So that might be my first thing where I'm like, hey, I'm going to take on someone every week and have that edited. So it's just looking into that. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, it's just basically finding people to save your time where you can put your time into something better. Right. And I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, and it's fun because those people that you provide for need that work too.
100%.
It's like you're cheering them on too, you know, like this is going to be their work so that they can sustain and do this on the side. I think that's the coolest thing in helping people out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Talk to me about what kind of went into forming your business and what parts does it take? And obviously I've done this a little bit for myself too, so I can add in a little bit, but.
Yeah, so in West Virginia, which is where I'm from, it's actually really simple, really easy to form a business and super cheap. So essentially I just went on like wv.gov or whatever the website is, and formed a LLC. And since I'm under 30, they have like some sort of like act where it's like $30 rather than like 130 or whatever it is. Right. So I formed Jyles FBA for like $30 and $25 yearly renewal. So it's super cheap because obviously West Virginia, we're not too populated. They want to bring businesses into West Virginia and have them stay in West Virginia. So it makes sense why it's cheap. Yeah. Now, if you're in like New York or California, I mean, they can take upwards of like, I don't know, I think $500, $600, $700 to form an LLC, which is kind of outrageous. Because, I mean, like you said with your T-shirt business, I don't know if you formed an actual business, but you had $1,000 to your name. If you spent $800 on an LLC, you're left with $200, and you can't really get any material. So like, it's I don't know, it kind of sucks for California and New York residents. But for my state, it was awesome. It was, like I said, $30 and $25 renewal. So it was a no-brainer for me. If stuff hits the fan, then I'll obviously just close the business and I'm out $55. So
nice.
It's like,
oh shoot, man, missed that. Yeah, my experience was eventually after a few years, the most profitable thing I did with my clothing brand was sell my domain.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this. Yeah. That was awesome.
That's a whole story. I need to dive into that. But forming LLC is step one. I did it through LegalZoom and said no to all the extra steps. It's just like an online filing company. With an LLC, it's pretty cheap, but with other stuff, it gets pretty scammy. Like they were gonna charge me $100 to do a DBA, and I was like, no, it literally costs $5. You just send mail to the. So like, be careful. But that's one way to form it. And then the really important thing is once you form that business, you need to have a business banking account with that. It's no longer your personal money going to it. That is your business, and everything business related goes through that. So that's step two. I don't know who you use, but I found a fintech company online called Novo. I've been loving Novo. It's free. It doesn't cost any money. It has an invoicing feature. It's got reserves, so when I get income, it saves 25% of that into a reserve for taxes.
Oh, really?
So I don't even have to think about that. Yeah, because I know a lot of people that make two accounts, and they make their income, and then they transfer 25% of that money into that second account to save. So Novo is what I recommend. What do you use?
And
it could be your local bank.
Yeah, I have PNC for my business bank. I have two separate bank accounts, one for my selling and the one for Jyles FBA. And then I have a savings account where I kind of put my tax money. So that's kind of what you said. Right. Another software I'd like to actually say, I think I told you maybe last week, is Wave.
Yeah.
Basically with Wave, I go on every day since I'm buying a bunch of stuff, having a lot of transactions come through. Basically, you just load up your bank accounts on there, your credit cards, and you can note every transaction. So it's super easy for my accountant to go in there and be like, oh, okay, you spent $200 on inventory. Oh, you spent $30 on the Uber ride or whatever it is. And I love Wave. Like I said, I go in there every day. It takes me 5 minutes to track all my transactions, make sure everything's good, make sure I'm not getting charged I don't know, some subscription fee that I don't use. But yeah, I love Wave. And then PNC is my bank, I guess, that I go through for all business related things. And I have a personal bank as well that I send money to monthly. So
Right. Yeah. Same thing, especially with a business that makes a lot more purchases, such as you fulfilling products and paying lots of different individuals and stuff.
yeah,
That's great. For me, I'm able to track it pretty easy manually. I don't have too many expenses. When I get income, it's big income. And when I get expenses, it's either a subscription or it's a big expense like a camera lens or a camera body or something like that. So I just track it. I used to track it with just a Google Sheet. You just track the date, what the expense was, who the manufacturer was of it, blah, 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 and then kind of the category of it. And that's just making sure that you can bring those documents to your tax person at the end of the year. But that's been my experience so far. But it's crazy stuff. Anyways, I want to talk about myself.
Oh, here, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever learn about taxes in school?
Nope. Zero.
Yep.
None.
Correct. Same here.
None.
If it wasn't for my parents and me, I guess, diving into some other stuff, and like other business owners talking about it, I guess, I'd never know to set money aside for taxes.
Yeah.
I'd probably be committing tax fraud. Not on purpose, but like, why aren't schools teaching people how to file their taxes?
Yeah. And we are, well, you're one of the biggest self-starters I know. I am somewhat of a self-starter. We are very ambitious about finding out about these things, and we still struggle to find out about taxes. It was so hard. We had to go way out of our way. If you own a business and an LLC, it's almost like, okay, let's talk about someone who is in a job. You get your paycheck every week, and you see how much money in taxes or in accounts that got withdrawn from your paycheck, and then you see what came out after that. When you're owning your business, it's like you hold that money. Like, you don't do that every month. You do that at the end of the year. So what you're kind of doing is you're not losing out on money. Well, you can, but you're just saving it for the end of the year. So you save 25% of all your income, and then you pay it either quarterly or if it's your first year, you do it at the end of the year. But that took a lot of knowledge to figure that out. And then with sales tax, you have to file that on your own. Shopify is easy if you're selling shirts. Shopify is a builder because they do all that for you. They just make one little sales tax payment. But for like video services that I do, I make videos every week. No one's telling me to pay sales tax. I have to go in, file an EIN, which is employer identification number, and I have to figure out if I need to pay yearly or monthly. And it's all me. No one's telling me. So I'm extremely frustrated with that. It has made business a lot harder. And there's a lot of deeper meanings that I don't know about, but it's hard for a reason. I don't know why. So
now on the flip side of that, the good thing about owning your own business is, like you said, expenses. So anytime you buy gear, you can write off all the gear that you buy.
Right.
You can write off, like, I'm assuming your office, your living space, your square footage in your house, if you owned your house or your apartment or whatever it is. So there's a lot of benefits of owning your own business, as if you were in a 9-to-5, there's nothing to write off because it's not your business. So
exactly. So it's important. Forming business, LLC, business bank account, tracking your expenses, bringing your expenses to your CPA. I would recommend getting a CPA the first year. Don't try to do self-employment stuff alone. A CPA is the tax person, whatever. And then you can deduct stuff. So if you don't track it, that's very bad. Not good. You want to do that. And miles. Do you do miles? Do you drive a lot?
I don't drive a lot, so honestly, I don't subtract miles just simply because all my work is done from at home, so it's gonna be hard to track miles. Now, whenever I was going out and like a little over a year ago, like PS5s and Xboxes were really hot, so I'd travel. I don't know, sometimes up to 2 hours to grab those PS5s and flip them for $100 and $150 profit, whatever it is. I should have. I didn't know, but I should have tracked my miles. And then wrote those off. So
something that
at the time I didn't know. I was, I don't know, 18 years old, and I'm like, I'm making $150 on this PS5. I'm gonna go do it. and I should be tracking my miles and be like, okay, end of the year, writing off all the miles. But I did not know at the time.
What I've noticed with business is a lot of the stuff has been no one tells you, or they tell you, but not very directional. So it's like, yeah, you should track your miles. That could be a very big statement for someone that's never heard of that before. Simple be simple. Just make a sheet, make odometer before, so you track, okay, before I started my trip, what is my odometer at? This is getting very specific, but you might as well. You write that number, and then you write odometer after, and then you write that number, and that shows the miles you used in that. And then you write the date you did it, and then you write the reason for the trip, and that's all it takes. And you just track that over time, and you add up your miles. It's June 6th already this year, and I have 900 miles for the year already.
There you go.
And I forgot what you made per gallon in 2022. Let me look up tax per gallon.
Another thing is there's an app, I forget what it's called, but it was free because my mom told me, she's like, did you track any of your miles? I'm like, no, I didn't even know about this. So she made me get the app, and I started tracking them on the app, and basically it's just like a GPS where whenever you start your trip, it'll track how many miles, and you stop your trip, and it'll save, and you can add a note and be like, okay, this was for a video shoot, X, Y, and Z.
Dang, what app is that? You don't remember the name?
I don't remember the name. It was over a year ago.
Yeah. So I just track it manually, but man, I would like that. That's crazy. Wow. Holy crap. Anyways, it's been 42 minutes. I'm sweating my pits off.
I'm sweating too.
We could probably wrap this up.
It's something that's sweet.
Anyways, dude, it's been good talking to you. Thank you so much for hopping on. Hopefully someone got some sort of insight to self-start something, because it's out there. Anyways.
Hopefully. I appreciate you having me on, Isaac.